One Piece co-showrunner Matt Owens, the GOAT, gives major season 2 update, talks Jamie Lee Curtis as Dr. Kureha, Buggy's viral fame, and why the series is so personal to him. A very, very long title, a very, very descriptive title. This is what we like. 5 weeks into its run, Netflix's One Piece remains firmly in the streamer's weekly top 10, amassing 57.8 million views to date. Which, by the way, it's great that these are official. You might have known, with Game of Thrones, for example, piracy numbers are also a very, very good indicator. I haven't looked at piracy numbers for One Piece, and I'm not talking about fictional piracy. I'm talking about piracy. Like, piracy is obviously bad for Netflix and official numbers, but piracy still translates into physical purchases, right? So it still functions as a funnel to an extent. So if you have very good piracy numbers and mediocre legit numbers, there is still get a chance to get renewed because it's not as simple as just looking at these numbers. That's beside the point. Quick season 2 renewal, we know that. And yes, they were on strike, which is now resolved. One of them at least. When did you discover One Piece, and how did you get involved in its live-action adaptation? I've been an anime fan for my entire life. That is good. Very good. I actually haven't heard his origin story, if you will. Maybe I have. Maybe I've just forgotten about it. Because I'm pretty sure he has talked about it. Maybe he talked about it in the Reverie at some point. I don't remember. I might have heard it before. One Piece is such a wonderful, positive, and inspirational series. You sure about that? A lot of One Piece is very dark. But yeah, I can see what you mean. I can see what you mean. I mean, yeah, I guess that's the origin story. How did you feel then not being able to attend? Okay, this is interesting. And watching the series of success from the picket lines. It was a little bit tough not being able to experience it firsthand or really even talk about it. Which, by the way, yes, for a lot of these people, it wasn't just like being there or talking about it. Well, it was talking about it. It's not just that you couldn't be there for the premiere and stuff. It was also you couldn't even promote it. I think a lot of people had it in their contracts that they can promote their work because that was like, you know, sort of proving your worth, I guess, is how people put it. This is just me going off of tweets, by the way, so take this with a grain of salt. Will you be joining the future Reverie, Koroto? If I get invited, the whole thing is invite only. So if someone reaches out to me, sure, why not? I think it starts at like 11 p.m. my time, so I would have to stay up for the entire night, but I'd be down. I'd be down. This was 5 years of my life getting the show made. I'm very proud of it, and I still love to be able to watch it, but not being able to share that, especially with the cast, it was tough. I'm glad that it's out. I'm glad for the reception that it's gotten, but there was a little... Of course. So this is basically like missing the expansion launch, you know? It's great that it's all out, and it's a big success, but not being there for the opening, I think that really, really stings, you know? I think it... He says, like, it's a little bit of a hole in my heart. I don't think it's a little bit of a hole. I think it really, really hurts. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but, you know, I think missing the premiere is very, very sad, especially because it is with something as not pleasant as a strike, you know. Had all the cuts been finalized by the time the strike started, May 2nd, or was there unfinished business when you left? Were there surprises when you watched the show on Netflix? We were very close. I just got to Tokyo to meet Oda again in April, and have conversations with him about where the cuts were. Some things that we wanted to see. So we were back in post when the strike hit. We were picture locked on most things. There was still a lot of visual effects, of course, final music. It was mostly finals. This makes sense. I've seen stages of the majority of it, which, by the way, also the fact that they were doing early screenings, they were like, May 2nd, they must have been super, super late into the process, which makes perfect sense, you know, considering it came out in August. It's like missing your own presentation, have your team do it instead for you. I guess you can think of it like that, yeah. Because with the presentation, you know, there's... I guess it is a good analogy, yeah. Because I was never a fan of presentations. I only started doing presentations in like not middle school, in high school. I originally was always like, do your presentation. I'd seen stages of the majority of it, which was another heartbreaking thing about it. I didn't get to finish the show. Yeah. Luckily, my post-production team, the effects team, they know me, and they know the show. So for having to step away, I still felt like the show was in the best possible hands. And Oda was still involved, even though we were not communicating about the show. It is, like, very, very good that the strike... I mean, it's not good that the strike happened. The fact that the strike happened so late into the production, I think was a big W. I kinda hope that what's going on with live-action Avatar right now And the fact that it was, because everyone was sure that it would come out in 2023, right? But then it suddenly, all the scoopers said it's no longer 2023, it's 2024. I hope that if there were troubles behind the scenes, that is why they delayed it. We'll find out soon. A college presentation about a topic you're passionate about, missing that would be devastating for me. Oh yeah, I mean, wait, college is the same as university, right? Because I know that differs in the EU and the US. Those are two different things. But in university, it depended on who I was presenting to. In university, when I was presenting to a professor I knew, and I kind of... When you're presenting, you're doing a little bit of emotional manipulation, you know? You know what the professor wants to hear, so that's what you say. If you don't know the professor, though, that's when things get dicey. What did you study, if you don't mind me asking? I studied finance. I have a degree in finance and economics. I should be working in a analytical firm right now. I was going to work as a consultant originally, but you know, I'm here now. You know, I'm still figuring things out. It's gonna be fine. It was exciting because I'd never seen the final cuts of the show until the rest of the world did. So I did feel like there were some little surprises for me to discover. Oh, that's how it turned out. That's fucking great. Things like that. I guess that's exciting, but it's also like, it's gotta be nerve-wracking. Anything you hadn't seen that particularly impressed you? Mihawk's introductory scene, it was peak. The battle on the beach. That was something that we had talked about a lot. It was a scene that I was really excited about. It was a scene that Oda was very excited about, and I think it turned out beautifully. Is there someone who didn't like Mihawk in the live-action version? Like actual serious question. Is there a single person who genuinely didn't like Mihawk? I don't think so. I think Mihawk was, just like Buggy, universally praised. It was incredible. Mihawk is the GOAT. The scene at the end of Season 1 with the shadowy figure was shot after the fact in the spring. Were you involved in the decision to add it? So this is Smoker, right? Yes, pitching that scene. There were some things about the ending that I wasn't very convinced of, that I wasn't entirely happy with. Interesting. 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 Because I feel like the ending is what most people actually have a problem with as well. Interesting. Actually, I believe it was not the day, it was maybe 2 days before the strike, I pitched the idea to the team to include that tag. And I got word that they were going to do it. I wasn't there for the shooting of it, I didn't actually see it, which by the way, in case you're wondering, this just happened with iCarly. The reason why people include these cliffhangers a lot of the time is because they need a hook to get a second season. Is basically what they're doing. They're hoping that by adding a filler, it will drive engagements and hopefully force the studio to renew the show. This is why sometimes, well not sometimes, a lot of the time, when your favorite show gets cancelled, it is on a cliffhanger, because they knew they weren't going to get another season. Obviously there are exceptions like The Walking Dead, which was literally at its peak and threw in a cliffhanger to mess with people, but most of the time, if you're ending on a cliffhanger, you're doing it with the like purpose of signaling to the studio that we are doing numbers. Which yes, iCarly just got cancelled on the biggest cliffhanger of all time. Yes, I still watch iCarly. I grew up with iCarly. It is what it is. It's great. I wasn't there for the shooting of it. I didn't actually see it until it was on the platform like everyone else. So that was also fun to see how they did it. And it is just as exciting of a tag and a tease as was hoping it would be. Great. Great. I mean, they are talking about Smoker, right? With the shadowy figure, it can only be Smoker. Which, by the way, I do think this is a very smart decision, by the way. I think so. Because it signals... I don't know, I kind of want to say it does signal, like, confidence. But at the same time, I can also see how someone would interpret it as not confidence, you know? That we need to do a cliffhanger to get people in. I don't know. I liked it. I liked it. What can you tease about how that sets up the second season? Season 1 ends with Luffy gaining notoriety. Of course, while it's something that he wants to be taken seriously as a pirate in the world. As Nami and Zoro say, this is putting a target on your back. A lot of people are going to know you and know your face. Which, by the way, I really, really hope they run with this idea of like people mistaking Luffy for someone else. Or rather, mistaking other people for Luffy. You know? Because this is something that we briefly saw in the anime, in Logtown, with the dude saying that he is Luffy. I thought that was really, really cool. I want to see more of that. And obviously with the fake Straw Hats way later on, I thought that was really, really cool. I want to see them do it more. And so that tag at the end is really reinforcing the idea that there are people who know of Luffy's existence and they're going to try to put a stop to him. Big Pog. The character in the end is very important in moving into our next season. And as Garp says to Luffy as well, you're on your own. While Garp may have been the Marine who was testing Luffy, not every Marine is going to give him any leeway because of who his grandfather might be. Interesting. And so we're going to see this very powerful, very driven Marine as a major antagonist moving forward in the story. Major antagonist moving forward in the story. Yeah, it wasn't someone claiming to be Luffy. You're right. It was just Smoker hearing about people talking about it. But the point still stands. It is still using Luffy's title to get ahead. You are right. He wasn't cosplaying Luffy. Tell us more about that Marine, Captain Smoker. He's a very popular character who reappears throughout the manga at various times. Oda, please buff Smoker. Please give him a balancing patch. Please buff him into the new world. Please. He's someone that I thought people would be excited to tease him. Okay. Knowing what is coming with him. And it seems to have gotten over well. It did. I love that kind of stuff. I love a tag that can give you a nice tease for people who might be new to the adaptation and for fans in the know. It's like rabid excitement. It is. The same thing happened with, again, The Walking Dead. Season 3, like the Season 2 finale, Michonne shows up. I was so happy. It was so cool. It was so cool. So yeah, it really depends on how you interpret it, I guess. It's not really black or white, in the sense of what they're trying to do. They know who that is, they know what that means, they are excited to see him, and to start to question how we're going to play this character, and how we're going to unfold his role moving forward. The fact that he names him a major antagonist, obviously he is a major antagonist no matter how you put it, right? He appears in Logtown, which is going to be the start of the season. If they don't do some sort of special, we still don't know. But he is going to be a major antagonist at the start of the season, and he is a major player in Alabasta. But maybe he's a major player throughout, just like Garp was. I want that. I'd be very, very excited to see something like that. I want to see Smoker be like the counterweight to Luffy throughout Season 2. I think that'd be cool. Maybe not as much as Garp. I think we talked about this on a stream a little while ago as well. If they cut some of the Marine scenes and just give to boring filler, and I will literally just call it boring filler to the Straw Hats, I want that. I want filler. I want them to sit around a table and just chat. I want that. Because I think that builds dynamic and just humanizes them. Because the show is way too fast currently. They need to slow down a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright. You were on Strike 2 at the time, but had the process of casting Smoker started before the strike? I don't think so. No one's been cast? Yes. Yes. He was obviously a step in. No one's been cast, and there is no talk of who it might be. Which makes sense. Makes sense. What about another character the series will be introducing in Season 2, Dr. Kureha? Talk about the outreach to Jamie Lee Curtis and your recent Instagram exchange with her after she confirmed her interest. Obviously, the strike is still ongoing, but can we assume that she will do it? I think she will. I think she will. I think this is a long-winded way to say, yes, it's going to happen. As soon as there can be I'm ready, I will take her out to dinner, we'll talk about it. We'll do it all because at this point we're writing for her. We really want her to come and play with us in Season 2. I think it's happening. I think it's happening. Someone said that she is straight up also said that she is willing to take a pay cut, and that's fine. Because I also said this myself, if you really want to play a character, it's the same thing that happened with Oppenheimer and working with Nolan. People took a pay cut because they wanted to work on the project. They just wanted to work on the project, so the paycheck only comes after. Obviously, people still need to be paid to an extent, But if they really want to work on it, they'll just be like, yes, I may have won an Oscar, but you know what? I will come and play Dr. Kureha. I think this is happening. I think so. Unless something goes very wrong with the strike and it's still ongoing for a long time. Maybe. I think it's happening though. I want Luffy sitting around with Dory and Usopp to sit and drink with Bragi and just chat like they did in the manga. I want just scenes like that throughout the entire season. I want Luffy and Zoro chatting on the ship. I just want a lot more scenes where they are just chatting, because we don't have that. Because in the the anime and in the manga, because the story is so long, you naturally grow attached to the characters even though they're not doing anything super dynamic between each other. It's not like they sit and talk about anything. It's just that we follow them for so long that we just get to know them passively. I want the show to be like a bit more proactive about it. I want them to splice in a few scenes where they just talk about their day, you know? Just make it 1,000,000% filler just to let us, like, feel what they're doing day to day. I think that'd be really, really cool. Crocus talking to the crew in a proper flashback episode would be fun. Yes. Yes. Obviously, they wouldn't want to give too much away, you know? Because I kind of want the live-action version to be the same as it was in the anime. I don't think I'm the only one who was like, yes, the ship that we saw in Reverse Mountain, 1,000,000% it was Roger. 100% it was Roger, no two ways about it. I want there to be, you know, a little bit of, if you know, you know, but I want it to be ambiguous. I don't want them to be like a full-blown flashback episode there. I got a non-anime friend to watch the anime with me, and he is enjoying it more than I thought. Universal W once again. Where exactly are you in the writing process on Season 2? Do you have any completed scripts or just outlines? We did start a Season 2 writer's room for a little bit before the strike. We didn't get much further than starting to plan out what the season is going to be, and got a couple of outlines done. But that's as far as... Okay. So, the whole Season 2 is written was kind of to put pressure on the strike, I guess. And of course, now that the show has come out, there are things to look at and lessons to learn as we move forward. Almost as if an iterative model will set you up for success. Incredible. Who could have thunk it? We've got some outlines, and we have a really solid plan that we had communication with Oda about. Part of my trip in April was to talk to him about some of the early ideas that we had, talking to him about things that I want to include, to just make sure that our ideas are in line with what he thinks. Very good. One of the really fun aspects of the show to me is the manga has been going on for so long, and sometimes Oda revisits previous places in time or reveals information about a certain character who was at an event or who has no knowledge of something. And we get to take all of that and play with it in the present day story for us. Yes. Yes. This is the biggest thing that the live action version needs to take advantage of. Just absolutely leverage hindsight. You know where the story is going, and they did this very, very well with Season 1. They know where the story is headed. They can absolutely eliminate all the, is this a retcon, is this not a retcon debates, because they literally have the future. You know, if we get to Skypiea, just make everything blatant. Just completely shut down the debates. Make it just so explicit that no one can deny it. Season 2 can end with the ship falling from the sky, and it's ambiguous if the crew gets hit or not, just like how 4Kids Dub ended their run. Honestly, you joke, but I would not at all be surprised if that is a post-credits scene. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the final scene of Season 2 is the X, you know? And then the post-credits scene is them sailing and a ship falling from the sky. I would not at all... Clip this and ship this. I honestly think that might be it. That's what I would do. Absolutely, that's what I would do. It'd be the goofiest little Easter egg known to man. It'd be great. They need to do G8. I don't think they will. They've said multiple times that it's supposed to be a manga adaptation, and I think no matter how much people like it, I don't think they'll do it. I kind of wish they do as well, but I don't think they will. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. And to be fair, if there is anything that we're going to be cutting a lot. I am fine with cutting G8. I am completely fine with cutting G8 because it is by definition filler. It doesn't progress the main plot. But the arc is really fun. It's really, really fun, and I would like to see it. I don't think we're going to, though. Some fans might understand what are two things that I might be alluding to with a statement like that. But that was also a part of my conversation with Oda in getting ready for Season 2. It's like, hey, are you cool if we put this person here because it's something that we know happens years later? And he was like, yeah, he enjoys that too. He enjoys seeing the depth of knowledge and love for his source material and allowing us to tell the story in a way that looks slightly different on its, slightly different, what the hell? Looks slightly different on, is still on the whole in line with his vision. I was going to read this slightly different, but still stands on its own or something like that. I was just auto-filling in my brain, but that was... I got stun-locked for a second there. What is this, though? Two things. One of them is obviously Brook. One of them is clearly Brook. What is the other one? Dragon, maybe? What's like the other big one in Season 2? Dragon in the crowd? Probably, yeah. But would that be something? Because, like, Dragon just shows up. You know? It's not much of like a future knowledge thing. The communication has been open, and we've gotten some insights from him. We've gotten some things approved, and we had started our process. We are now back up and running as of this week, and we're going to try to take the appropriate time that we need to get it right. But we're going to try and get stuff up and running as soon as possible, of course. Basically, this means it is what it is. We're working. Great. You mean the writer's room is up and running? Yes. Very good. We can't talk about production scheduling yet with actor strike still going on, but there's also the weather you're working around, so filming ideally starts in early 2024 if you want to avoid the brunt of the South African winter, which is June to August. Those are conversations that are still happening. You're right. Weather is something we have to deal with. Unfortunately, yes, it is something we have to deal with. Quite ironic that weather is something we have to deal with. South African winter is very windy, very wet, so we really need to have a plan. We spend a lot of time outside. We spend a lot of time in sunny blue skies. So a lot of our shooting schedule is built around the weather. Yes. Taking a look at how much time are we spending inside in particular episodes, where can we put that in the schedule so that we're not fighting the weather? I think most of Drum Island would just have to be done with effects anyway, right? And I think they'll move a lot of Drum Island to be the castle anyway. So Drum Island is kind of safe. Whiskey Peak, however they do it, if they do it, still yet to be seen, that is outdoors. Little Garden, that's the one. Little Garden is completely outdoors. And then Alabasta is obviously outdoors. There's a lot of weather involved. There's a lot of weather involved. Is there an overarching theme for Season 2 that you can share? Without saying too much, and speaking to any new characters that we might meet, I would say a major theme that we're working with in Season 2 is the challenge of leadership. Ironic that he says that, because there is a video coming out on the main channel in just a couple of days about that. Exactly. About this exactly. Vivi confirmed? I mean, yeah. Challenge of leadership. That's an interesting way of putting it. Funny you mentioned that. From Luffy's perspective, he's got his crew now, and they're setting out to the Grand Line. They're doing the thing. And there are a lot of challenges that come with that responsibility. And that theme ties in some other stories and characters that I won't give away just yet. But the challenge and leadership is a big theme for us in Season 2. The Drum Island scene where Vivi gets shot, they need to keep that scene. 100% they're keeping it. Because that's like Luffy's big moment. That moment for Luffy, again, I talk about it in the upcoming main channel video very, very soon. That moment is so important for Luffy. It is so important for his character. No shot they're going to take it out. Absolutely, they're going to have it. The whole Luffy bowing down, that is peak One Piece right there. You alluded to potentially making adjustments based on fans' reactions to Season 1. Will you make Buggy even more prominent because he has been such a breakout? Did you expect, which by the way, right from the get-go, I think it's fine. I think it's fine to like make Buggy appear. I think it would be very, very funny if we occasionally cut to Buggy, sort of like we did with Wapol way later on, right? We just get a small story of what Buggy is up to. Maybe we could do the I forget what it's called, but there's the Buggy filler arc as well. They could do that. With how more dark and brutal Buggy is in live action, I'm very curious how they'll do Spondom. Yes. Yes. But the point I was making is I think it's fine to like make Buggy appear because people like them. Like at the end of the day, this is entertainment. We don't need to be like 100% serious all the time. People like Buggy. Why don't we include Buggy? But I don't want them to include him just because people like him. I don't want it to be like, hey, look, we gave 20 minutes of the episode to Buggy because people really, really like him. And we're just going to damage the rest of the show because of that, I want them to make it natural, but sure, include Buggy. I want to see Buggy again. Buggy is the GOAT. Did you expect that of all characters, he would be the one to become a TikTok phenomenon? Incredible. No, not to the extent. I mean, did anyone seriously expect Buggy to pop off? I don't think so. I think everyone expected Buggy to be, like, the weird one in the live-action version. Turns out he's the best. I knew Jeff Ward. We had worked together on Agents... Oh, he was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I didn't know that. We had a great working relationship that blossomed into a very close friendship. I was still on S.H.I.E.L.D. when I first started developing One Piece. We went out to dinner one night, and I said, hey, I'm doing the show. Take a look at it, because there's a character that I really want you for. So Jeff and I have been talking about Buggy the Clown for years. Jeff is such a phenomenal actor. He is. His range is insane. I said this in my main video as well. Like, the fact that he can swing through those, like, he can go from, like, serious to goofy to sad to serious to goofy to sad, all in the space of, like, a single line. It is insane how well he can, like, capture those emotions. It's mind-boggling to me. He brings such depth, such playfulness, such thought to everything that he does, and he killed it. It was so fun seeing him embody that character. So I knew that he'd be a hit. I knew that people would really like him. To the extent that they have, to the extent that they have been horny for him, that's new for me. Yeah, I didn't expect this. But I'm glad to see him getting the attention that he deserves as an artist. Yes. Same thing with the Mihawk actor, by the way. I forget his name. The Mihawk actor on Twitter is such a goofy little guy. He's responding to random people with the most random of clips. It's so funny. I love it. It's great. Oh, this is a good one. Buggy is still around despite all the terrible things he did. Why don't the villains die on your show? Which, by the way, I think the people who keep asking this are only asking this because this is a complaint in the anime and in the manga. Because people die in the show. The first scene with Zoro is a dude being sliced in half. I don't think this is a legit question. Okay, let's talk about Buggy. Dreams are very important in the world, in the One Piece world, and Oda said before that what's worse than death is a dream being taken away. Big true. Funny you mentioned that in relation to Buggy, by the way. When you see a lot of the villains that we meet, they have these machinations, they have these desires, often nefarious. And the Straw Hats take those away from them. Big true. For Oda as an artist, the way that he described it, that is a fate worse than death. It very much is. So that is something that he likes to focus on, which, by the way, I would like to hear Oda's take on Crocodile, not on Crocodile, but on Doflamingo. Because Doflamingo doesn't seem to be that crushed. He seems to be vibing. Kind of wanna hear what he has to say about him in this regard. What it also allows him to do, though, is when there is death in One Piece, it's even more impactful because you're not dealing with death every single story arc necessarily. This is true. But you know, I mean, I think we all know that sometimes Oda should kill characters. So, like, sometimes, yes. Just do it. That is Oda's perspective as an artist and a creator, and is something that we have taken on as well. Big true. What did you learn from Season 1 that you would like to use for Season 2? Honestly, one of the biggest lessons that I think we're taking into Season 2 is to trust ourselves. We managed to make something that really resonated with people, with newcomers, and fans alike. And this was difficult. This was a difficult show in terms of tone. Funny you mentioned that. In terms of the world and how weird it can be, but it's also incredibly emotional. Biggest true of all truths. The tone is the most important. The most important. We did not know how people were going to respond, and I was moved by how positively, on the whole, it has been received. Which, by the way, I said this before when we got the I think it was Oda's message, and he talked about, like, the intent of what they're doing. This is, like, the best thing you could ever hear from a showrunner. The fact that they're not talking about, like, oh, people didn't like this, people like that. No, they are talking big picture. They're talking about understanding the story first and foremost. This is so good to hear. I love this. Please give me more of this. Let's talk about the tone and the vision of the story before we talk about the story. Very good. One thing for us is to trust ourselves. Now we can say, okay, we were walking a tightrope, and now we go to the other side. People are down for what we put out in the world. People are, which, by the way, you say this, you're going to be walking in a progressively tighter tightrope. Just so we're on the same page, you know. Like Oda, he let's say he gets more creative as time goes on. It's gonna be interesting. So let's keep doing it. Let's give them more of what we want to make, because what we want to make is what they want to see. Yes. It's also good to know that he's, like, saying people are okay with a wacky world. They're not going to try to, adjust it or anything. It's also nice that, for the most part, existing fans understand and like the changes that were made. Yes. I think they appreciate that it comes from a conversation between Oda and I, that we're not taking this from a stance of we're changing things just to change things. Another universal W. Matt Owens. I need to talk to this man. This man, I need to get him to work on some more things. Matt Owens, can you like, there's this series called Monster. Have you considered? I want you to consider. Nowhere in the development of the show it was like, what's the concept? It's a rubber boy in a straw hat who's a pirate. Great, I'm going to tell my own story with that. This is so good to hear. I like this. I love this. Executive producers, Marty, I'm not going to try to say their names. Adelstein, Becky Clemens, okay. Mentioned that you may have a 6-year plan and the source material is so vast that you can easily make as many as 12 seasons. Do you have a goal for how many seasons you'd like to go? I do. I want to go as long as we can. Another big W. Another W. Good. I'm so obsessive not just with One Piece but planning in general. I do have ideas of what the future seasons can be. I will be included in them. How we can, on a macro level, structure some things just because of the wealth of the material that we have. Yes. I will make this show until Netflix says no more. You know what we do when Netflix says one more? We do hashtag save One Piece. That's what we do when Netflix says one more. And then we go for more. Do you stay in touch with One Piece stars who have not been able to enjoy the success of the show and have their own breakthrough because of the strike? How would you evaluate their performances? Yes, I do keep in touch with them. I speak to all of the Straw Hats on at least a semi-regular basis. Jeff, Emily, Ruds, and I were friends before One Piece. We would sit and talk about and manifest like, wouldn't it be crazy if I got to do One Piece and you got to be Nabi, and then how we were here. So that was very meaningful. I mean, yeah, it must be very wholesome. I talk to Emily and Taz almost every day. Taz and I got very close while we were shooting. He's like a little brother to me. Very wholesome. Very wholesome. I wish they were able to step into the spotlight that they now have, that they are rightfully deserve because they crushed it. Sad, but very true. Let's just, you know, let's hope it gets resolved soon, TM. Again, this was a hard show to write, but it was an even harder show to act, to make, and all of them brought it. All of them were wonderful. This is another very, very big true. It's not just that, like, One Piece has a wacky tone in terms of the macro story. It's just, like, every single character has to bring the amplitude that you would have on a anime character, you know? And anime characters, by design, are over-exaggerated because they have a limited ability to convey emotions. But now what they need to do is they need to take these mega-exaggerated emotions and actually make them human. Which is so hard. It's so hard. And they all knocked it out of the park. It's so good. It was a tough schedule, especially for Iñaki. He's so young. The fact that he's younger than me. I feel so old. He's a phenomenal actor and he is a phenomenal human being. He was such a good leader. Someone who just had a very positive attitude. Who was game for anything. He is Luffy. He is the main character. So there was a lot of that was being asked of him action-wise, emotion-wise. Even just a number of days that he had to shoot. Iñaki, the GOAT. The GOAT. Is there a scene in Season 1 that, no matter what, how many times you watch it, it always gets you, that exemplifies that your vision for adapting the manga was? Oh, I know, and definitely the end of season. We know what this is. We know what this is. It was 2 o'clock in the morning and we were shooting. It's freezing cold, it's so late, and Emily is just sitting in the mud for hours, having to be as emotionally raw as possible. That's sad. That's sad. I think about a lot of these things. Game of Thrones has a lot of these moments, and The Walking Dead has a lot of these moments where they're just sitting in the dark and bawling their eyes out. And I'm just like, I wonder how many shots that took. How long were you sitting there in the dark, just crying? Because man, that must be real hard, you know? That is night of shooting, which by the way, I think for him, obviously there's also the emotional baggage of actually being there and seeing it go down. Which is like seeing any person cry, IRL, it doesn't matter if they're acting or not. I think it's just perfectly, you know, normal to be like, damn, that's sad. That is a night of shooting that I will never forget because Emily was such a champion in that moment. That moment of Nami's breakdown and her finally asking for Luffy, asking Luffy for help is one of the most iconic moments in One Piece history, even to this day. It is. It's the GOAT. Even for as far away from that arc as we are, for as many other moving and iconic moments we've had, that help me scene still stands in the upper echelon. It does. It absolutely does. I knew we had to nail it, and I knew that they would, but it was also coupled with the fact that Emily and I are friends. I'm sitting here as a friend, yeah, exactly. This is what I mean, right? You're sitting there, Like, this is your friend. You know, like, this is... We're all doing a job right now. It's very professional. But, like, you're crying. Are you, like... Do you want to just, like, time out? Like, I can't imagine what it must be shooting these scenes. Especially, like, if you've watched The Walking Dead, the Season 7 premiere, if you look at Andrew Lincoln, oh my god, that poor man. Oh my god. I have no idea what was going through his brain. Like, it is an extended episode, I believe. So it's a 60-minute episode. And for the entire episode, his eyes are just red. I can't imagine what it must be like working on these things. It must be a yikes. We come out and put a jacket over her between takes because she didn't want to get up. She didn't want to leave physicality of that moment. That was just so powerful for me. And I think it translated. I tear up every time I watch it. It was a great scene. Were you surprised by the magnitude of the show's success? To be completely honest with you, yes. And it's not because I was not confident in the work. I mean, yeah, this makes sense, you know? I don't think, like, when it comes to these shows that just, like, absolutely break into the mainstream, I don't think anyone really expects that. You know, I don't think... Because with these things, you really get into this creative bubble, if that makes sense. Which is also why I think a lot of things turn out, like, incredibly horrible. It's because these echo chambers, both good and bad, do form. And there is no way of escaping that. Like, if you're working on a project like Matt Owens said for 5 years, no matter how confident about it you are, your view is very, very skewed. So even if he was like, you know what, I think we have something, the amount of success that it sees, I don't think anyone can predict it, you know? It's great that it has it, but I don't think anyone saw it coming. I'm so proud to be a part of this production and to work with people that I got to work with. I knew we were making a good show. Yes. Exactly, but there was a big hill for us to climb with how beloved One Piece is, with how much mistrust there is in anime adaptations. Which by the way, I still haven't seen the video. I know that, I forget the creator's name, but there was a video where someone showed Matt Owens horrible adaptations. Which, like, imagine if One Piece turned out bad. Oh, that'd be so cursed. If One Piece turned out bad, and we would have this video of Matt Owens being like, oh yeah, what a bad adaptation. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that'd be bad. I didn't sleep for 2 days before the release because I didn't know what to expect with this labor of love that has been such a big part of my life. And also, I'm a peasant? What? So I was expecting the worst anyway. Okay. This is just like me for real. You know what the best way of looking at things is? You can never be disappointed if you never expect anything. Just be cynical, and you'll always be happy. I'm so grateful that people see what we were trying to do, that they appreciate it. I love hearing people say, my mom's not into anime, but I got her to watch this, and she loves the show. That is the success. Yes. I'm over the moon at the numbers, the data, all of that stuff is great, especially because that's what's going to get us more seasons. But it's people who see the love that went into it, and if people find the ability to share the story of One Piece with others, that to me is the success of this show. I think that's it. Yeah, that's a very nice note to leave things on. So basically, we're moving ahead. As much as we can, anyway. Writing will take a while. So if they resolve the actors' strike, there it is, right? So you want to avoid working... Okay, so we're already kind of past that, yeah. So if they start in early 2024, and they shoot right up until, like, June, and then if they need to, they can do reshoots, like, late July, August, something like that. I can see it being a, like a mid-2025 thing. We'll see, though. Point is, the more I read of Matt Owens, the more I'm like, you know what? I have full faith in this guy. He is saying all the right things. They're thinking about tone. They're thinking about not changing things for the sake of changing things. They're thinking about adapting the story while understanding the heart of the story. They're talking about splicing things in because they know they're coming. It's so good. This man, he knows what he's doing. Also, this is happening. 100% Jamie Lee Curtis is going to play Dr. Kureha. 100%. But yeah, no like concrete updates, obviously, but all of this is good to hear. Things are moving forward. We're good. Absolutely nothing bad to say. I would so want to be involved in one of these productions. Purely for my own curiosity, because I followed like Walking Dead for the entire behind the scenes stuff for like years. I find like the behind the scenes production stuff so interesting. I would absolutely kill to see like how this whole thing comes together. Because reading this is just like, man, being up at 2 in the morning and just filming this stuff, that must be like something you talk about years later. You know? Must be hard, but it must also be kind of fun. My prediction, I don't, like, no shot, it's happening probably like mid 2025, maybe very like early mid 2025 if we're lucky, because they were talking about trying to pump them out fast to like get ahead of their age curve, if that makes sense, you know, because that's going to be a problem as well. And if they hit the ground running and they're starting to think about season 3, they can like establish a proper schedule, you know, because keep in mind season 1 took 5 years. 5 years. Obviously, the year that shall not be named also happened in between. It still took 5 years. It's getting up and running that is the biggest brunt of everything. With seasons 2 and 3 and onward, if they keep getting renewed, it's going to be much, much faster, I think. I guess only time will tell. We'll see what happens with the strikes. We'll see what happens with everything moving forward. But, you know, when we have news, I'll be right here to read all about it. I'm excited. I'm excited.